Hello everyone, welcome to Wicked West Books. My name is Meg West and today is Bookish Backgrounds episode 1. Today we're going to be talking about Anita Blake, Vampire Hunter. This is a series by Laurel K. Hamilton, and I want to let you know a few things about the author before I talk about this specific series. The first book for the Anita Blake series is Guilty Pleasures, and it came out in '93. I follow Laurel K. Hamilton on Twitter, and she's just submitted a brand new manuscript for a brand new Anita Blake book. It's still ongoing. At the moment, there are 29 books out, so this next one should be the 30th. She also has another very popular series out, the Mary Gentry novels. There are 9 books in that series. At the moment, it is done. I think she is thinking about going back into the world, but nothing has happened for that yet, and I haven't read those books. There was also a book called A Terrible Fall of Angels, which came out during August of last year. This is going to be the first book in another series that Laurel K. Hamilton is writing, and it is the first book series main character who is male. So that was interesting to read since I've read almost 30 other books by Laurel K. Hamilton that are about Anita Blake. So just a couple of really cool facts about Laurel K. Hamilton herself is that when she was studying for the main character of the Mary Gentry series, she had to do a lot of study on the Wicca religion and actually converted over to it. So Laurel K. Hamilton is pagan. It's something that I like about her. And another interesting thing that you should probably know about her is that Laurel K. Hamilton is very openly polyamorous. That's important for the Anita Blake series because so is Anita Blake. So if you're wondering where to start for the Anita Blake series, that book is Guilty Pleasures. This kicks off the whole series, and you know, it's a little bit dated because it did come out in '93, so, you know, it would be. But it's really how you get started with the whole thing. Anita Blake is a few things. She's got a few jobs, a few hats at the beginning of the series, and they all lead to chaos in her life, essentially. Anita Blake's first job, how she makes all of her money, is as an animator, which is another word in this world basically for necromancer. It's a bit more detailed, but you don't have to know that detail until much further on in the series. She is an animator. She brings the dead back to life for a living, which I think is the tagline initially for the book series. And sometimes that brings interesting jobs down the line, but what Anita Blake is also is a vampire hunter. But in this book, shortly before this book takes place, vampirism has become legal in the US, so it's no longer legal in most places to just kill vampires on sight, which makes some legal issues for some things for Anita Blake down the line. Again, but it also means that she knows a whole lot more about the preternatural creatures than her local cops do. So they often come to her in search of advice on how to handle things, and when it gets to the point that it needs a legal vampire hunter to take care of them, she's the local one, so she gets called to go and kill the bad guys. Due to this, the vampires and the lycanthropes have given her a nickname, and that nickname is the Executioner. There are only 2 other people in the country with a death count, a legal death count, higher than Anita Blake. And if it's something that is especially your cup of tea, there are a few of the books written as graphic novels. You can get it in a bind-up. This has the first 2 volumes. I also have the first 2 volumes separately. It comes with the amazing pictures of all of the characters in the book. So, you know, if you want to see what a lot of them look like, a few books of this series have been turned into graphic novels for all of the bloody, detailed, gory things that you can possibly want to see. As well as the fact that Guilty Pleasures itself is a vampire strip club in the universe of Anita Blake. So for this book series, the first 6 books focus almost exclusively on solving some kind of police type mystery. And throughout books 2 and on, essentially, there is some romancing. And then in book 6, these books turn spicy. Anita Blake starts sleeping with vampires, werewolves, lots of other different kinds of lycanthropes throughout, a few more vampires, and not immediately. She builds into it, but the fact that the author is polyamorous is important because Anita Blake is as well. So she starts off slow, she starts off monogamous, and things don't work out for her. And she figures out that things work out well for her once she starts practicing polyamory. So if you want a polyamory rep written by a polyamory author, one that also includes, you know, vampires and werewolves and were-tigers and were-rats, were-hyenas, there's also were-leopards, this will do that. And they get pretty spicy. I can tell you another fun fact about this series is that at some point Laurel K. Hamilton got annoyed at how many people asking her to tone down the sex in the books. So she toned it up. She tuned it up. There were more sex. More recently, the books that have come out most recently toned it much back down, and honestly I appreciated that. I like smut in my books, but I like plot more. And I really hope she doesn't decide to punish everyone for me saying that those books were very smut heavy, which is fine, but one thing to keep in mind for the Anita Blake series, the first 5 books of the series have no smut in them. There's no smut in these. There is some to a lot of smut in every single book up to Sucker Punch, which is where Laurel K. Hamilton toned it back all the way for the people who are complaining about too much sex. It's one of my favorite books in the series for the latter half because of that lack of sex. Like, there's a balance. And I fell in love with these books when there was no smut in them. And then it kind of became smut heavy. And while I appreciated the smut content itself, you know, I hope you understand what I'm trying to say with that. Like, I don't want to be overly critical of it because I still absolutely love the entire series. I've read 29 books in this world written by this author, and I will continue to read them even if they go back to being smut heavy. But the books that have a better balance between smut and plot are the ones I like better. And I really, really like Anita Blake for plot. Please note that the books that have just a character's name on them have no plot. That's their purpose. But up through the top 2 books, these 2 I'm unsure about being in order. This is the order for the books. You have Guilty Pleasures, The Laughing Corpse, The Circus of the Damned. Fun things happen in Circus of the Damned. It introduces a new character who is going to become a major plot point, and I don't want to spoil things about him, but yeah. Then there's The Lunatic Cafe. There is Bloody Bones, which is the first book in this series that deals closely with the Fae, and is one of the ones that I didn't particularly like for the Fae reasons, which is one of the reasons I haven't read the Mary Gentry series, because that one focuses on the Fae. Different Fae, they're not the same world. Mostly because Laurel K. Hamilton did enough research to figure out what she wanted to do with the Fae, and it was not what she did with Anita Blake. So maybe I should pick it up. Then there's The Killing Dance, Burnt Offerings, Blood Moon, Obsidian Butterfly, Narcissus in Chains, Incubus Dreams, and then I'm pretty sure Micah is before Crimson Death, and Crimson Death is one of the newest releases in the series, plus a few other books. Serpentine I have in hardback because I went and got it signed when it came out, and Laurel K. Hamilton, wow, that white balance, and Laurel K. Hamilton came to Oklahoma City. That was an amazing time. I have a vlog about that in case you're interested in seeing how we celebrated this book coming out. And I also, I took the poster from the Oklahoma City event We were one of the last ones there after the actual signing part was over, and it was offered, and I took it. There have been 2 books that has come out since Serpentine, and like I said, Laura K. Hamilton has submitted the next book series, I believe, to her editor. It's still very new. It's going to be a little bit before it actually comes out, but I am very much looking forward to it. There's some interesting things happening later on, and I'm ready to see them actually happen because there's been a lot of build-up for them. So yeah, that is Bookish Backgrounds episode 1. This book series was given to me by one of my high school friend's sisters. I borrowed it first and then went out and bought them myself, and it's been in my life for a very long time. Not as long as the book series has been out, but for a very long time. Maybe a freshman in high school when I borrowed the books. 15 or 16, and I turned 31 this year, so it's been in my life for a very long time, and I don't see that ending anytime soon. I will continue to read the Anita Blake series. I liked A Terrible Fall of Angels okay. I'm willing to read a couple more books before I make up my mind if that's a series I want to continue or not, and obviously I'm going to have to wait a few years for those books to come out because the first book only came out last year, and I don't think the second book is coming out until 2023. So that one might take a little bit to get into, but I liked the first book. It was pretty good. I know that I needed to look into Mary Gentry, and everyone who is around me who reads Laura K. Hamilton also has read Mary Gentry, but I also know that that one involves a pregnancy, and Anita Blake has a pregnancy scare but no pregnancies, so that's not something you have to look at, or at least not yet. One of her boyfriends is trying to convince her to have a child in much later books, so if that's something that you need to be aware of for the book series. But yeah, hopefully my ramblings about one particular series weren't too boring. I hope to be able to do that for all of my book series, or at least all of the authors. Probably all of the book series that I have on my bookshelf. It's so that you just know my opinions on all of the things that I may not always talk about. So yeah, that's going to be it for this very long-winded video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up or feel free to comment down below, especially if you've read Anita Blake or if you have any questions about them. I will do my absolute best to answer questions for Anita Blake. That's going to be it for this video. Have a wicked day.